Well, today we're going to introduce you to probably one of the most powerful dialers out there called WAVV. WAVV is a great addition to anybody that's using Highlevel and anybody that's not even using Highlevel, for that is trying to basically make any kind of calls that are going outwards. So for anybody that is in the real estate space or in any kind of space where you're calling and you're doing all kinds of calls and you're using dialers that are pretty normal and kind of don't have any kind of good things to it. Now I can tell you that this is by far one of the best technology I've seen on this. And today I got a special treat for you guys. Not only was I able to get us a little demo on it, show you how it works, I got the entire team here, which I'm super excited about, including the owner. So I'm going to bring them up one at a time. And as you can see, I have Sydney, Spencer, and I have Caden, all like the geniuses behind WAVV. And I don't want to do any disjustice by kind of going over how powerful this tool is. But again, we're a how-to channel. As you guys know, we're going to show you guys the inside tricks. And I got the premium team here. And Spencer, I'll start with you. You're the owner. Can you just introduce the team and more importantly, what WAVV is? How long has it been? I know it's been an incredible journey for WAVV and you guys are really kicking out right now and you're doing incredibly well. So if you can just kind of go over, give us a 30-second view of exactly what it's about and introduce your team, that'd be great.
Yeah. So as you mentioned, first of all, thank you and really excited to be here. So WAVV is a power dialer, but its foundation, we're different than most dialers. We live inside of the CRM. So instead of going outside of the CRM and working outside, we live right inside of your CRM. You don't have to worry about crazy integrations, API data going back and forth. We're inside of the CRM. So at our core, we intentionally built our dialer different than everybody else. And that's the biggest thing that everyone notices and just raves about. But yeah, I wanted to make sure we had the best people here on the team. Caden is one of our top AEs, and Sydney, you've already met with. She leads all of our partnerships and affiliate marketing. And so we wanted to have Sydney on here with us as well.
So I got to prompt you with some serious questions because I think I gave you guys a lot of grilling when we first met, right? So
yeah,
the biggest question we get, and it's the question we're going to get, all our users are probably going to have, is what's the difference between the normal high-level power dialer and the power dialer you guys are bringing on point?
Yeah, good question. So Highlevel's dialer is good, right? If you can build up your list and work through that list, with those tasks and kind of some automations there. That's great, depending on how much speed and the age of those leads. As soon as you start using it, you can see the value, but you realize there's just so much more opportunity out there. And that's where either us or another dialer comes in. So it's cool, but it's kind of eating bread and not having steak.
So that's a pretty good analogy. So you guys are like the steak, the filet mignon of all dialers out there. Now, what's really cool about this is for anybody that's watching, that's what the heck is a dialer? And we're at that level, right? We're not really understanding what it is. So think of it like this. If I had a list of 1,000 people I just uploaded and I wanted to call them all, back in the day, you would literally call one at a time, use an Excel spreadsheet, kind of tick them off. And it would be a very manual. You would have to literally hit the keys and set the dial tone and all that other stuff. It was really, really kind of frustrating, annoying. Big companies use things called dialers. And dialers are basically where you put in a list, you hit go, and it calls one after the other, after the other, after the other, and so forth. It allows you to disposition calls. It allows you to take mass volumes in. And imagine you, instead of wasting an hour doing 100 calls, you can usually probably in an hour, if anybody answers, doesn't answer, you could do a lot more, anywhere from 50 to 100 to 500. So it's really insane, but you want to have a software that, one, tracks all this stuff, gives you good numbers, and two, is easily for anybody to use and can handle mass volumes. So for companies that are doing 10 calls a day, would it be a good fit? Don't necessarily know. But again, Spencer might prove me wrong here today, so might Caden right now. But imagine a company that has 1,000 leads a day to call, or 2,000 or 3,000 or 10,000. This becomes a real game changer, especially when you start adding other employees and so forth. So there's a lot of complexity here. And again, I've used the power dialer inside of Highlevel. Do I use it all the time? Not really. And it's probably because you're going to show me something that I probably could imagine doing in a much better and bigger system like WAVV. And the fact that a lot of companies are using WAVV now, right? I mean, your growth has been exponential, right?
Yeah, it's been insane. We started a company a little over 7 years ago, but we started in Highlevel just now almost 2 years. But the last year has just been nuts. I mean, we're always, one of the top downloaded apps in the marketplace. So Highlevel's been amazing for us. And obviously people are still remembering the value of a dialer. And we talked through conversations, the importance of having a conversation. In my mind, still the most powerful thing is meeting in person, right? You and I meet, it's amazing. Second to that is a video call like this. That is so powerful and persuasive. But as soon as you go below that, it's on the phone. And people are like, phone is dead. It's not dead. The most persuasive you can be right here, the phone call still lives and it's really powerful.
And what would you say it's your biggest markets right now? Who are the people using Wave the most?
Yeah, so real estate for sure. We started out, our background's real estate. We spun off from a real estate company. And so we know that space very, very well. And high level real estate's still really big. And so that was a good fit for us. But right after that is insurance. We work with so many insurance agents. It's unbelievable. And it'll probably outpace real estate. Kind of going out of that, you have other financial services, you have, home services, solar. I mean, it gets pretty broad after that.
Yeah, and I'm assuming agencies will be somewhere in that mix too, right? I mean, a lot of agencies, especially the ones that are running leads, you're talking about 100 leads a day, 200 leads a day. This is pretty good for a caller to use to track to make sure that you got everything on point. So again, pretty versatile for anybody that is any of those fields. This is the tool to have. And I know, Spencer, you've made some pretty good deals with some of our friends out there. Like we have Agency RM. We love him. He does insurances. He's a good buddy of ours. Anytime we get insurances, we send him his way. He's our guy, and he's a really good friend of ours. And he's also, I think, New York, New Jersey based. So regardless of which, this is something not only can you put it inside your agency, give it to all your clients, more importantly, you got Cindy here, you can become an affiliate for Wave, and it can be a little extra cash in your pocket, especially with it's taking off and it's doing incredibly well. So, and as always, you guys know that I don't personally bring anybody on the show unless they're trusted or it's a system that I'm using for one of my clients or some of my clients. And, I have a couple mortgage companies looking at Wave right now. And I also have real estate agents that are using it. So again, kind of behoove you to kind of listen in, but more importantly, you guys are going to show us what this tool is all about. So Caden, if you want us to share a screen, there is a magical little button I can hit and we'll all go to the side magically in here.
As you're pulling that up, one thing we've seen for agencies specifically that has been really cool is a lot of agencies, you're offering services. And a new service they can now offer through Wave is this, we'll call for you. And so they'll hire an initial rep to make calls on behalf of the agency's, customers. The reason for that is a lot of your customers, they're like, I don't know if I want to hire someone full time. I haven't ever done this before. And so they'll start growing as at an agency level, a bunch of dialers, and so they hire these sales reps and are making calls on behalf of their customers. It's a new stream of income for them. It's been really awesome to see that grow.
That is very, very cool. All right. So Caden, without further ado, what you got for us, man?
Awesome. Well, I'm excited that I get to show you demo Wave, how it works. Cool thing about Wave is that it's very self-intuitive. It's very simply built. So for a how-to channel, you're definitely going to understand exactly how to use Wave. I'm going to share my screen, jump into it.
Yeah, there we go. Now we got you.
Okay. All right. Awesome. So I'm here inside of Highlevel. This is our basically our demo account that I use for all the demos. Cool thing about Wave, just like Spencer mentioned, just like you've seen, is that we are completely embedded into Wave. So it's different than other integrations that you're going to see. We're actually just a native, a bar, like a sidebar menu right inside of your CRM right there. I'll kind of go over Wave Manager, reports, things like that that's inside of CRM. But as far as how to call specifically, it's really simple. So there's two main ways that you can power dial inside of Wave. First one is going to be inside of your contacts. Second one is going to be inside of your opportunities. So obviously inside of contacts, right, you have different smart lists, different lists that you're going to be using to power dial off of. You can filter your leads for whatever filters you need. You can create those smart lists. Basically, you'll go to those smart lists, and then you can literally just from here select all the leads you want to call, and you'll have this power dial button right there.
Right into the tool. So you weren't kidding, literally legit inside a Highlevel already where it's buttons. Awesome. So it's just not an iframe. It's already inside the tool.
Exactly right. So go ahead and click that. It's going to take all of the leads in that smart list that you've selected. It's going to add them into the dialer. Right now, I'm using our multi-line dialer. So it's a power dialer. It actually allows us to call 3 people at the exact same time.
Wow. And why would we do that? I'm going to ask a very stupid question. Why would we want to call 3 people at the same time?
Yeah, no, you're good. Yeah. So, a big part of it depends on how many leads you have, how fast you want to get through them. Power dialing 3 people at the same time allows you to really filter through those who are not answering the phone at that time and get more answers at a faster pace, basically. So, right, we call 3 people at a time. I'll show you how that works. And you have, 3x, 3 times as many opportunities to have people answering on the phone, have a conversation that's going to lead to a sale, things like that.
Very, very cool.
Yeah. So I'll go ahead and hit dial here. I'll show you. It's going to call all 3 of these contacts. Whoever answers first,
hello?
Display their actual.
No, not right at the time. I sure don't.
So have them on the phone here.
No, I think we're just
after I talk to them, right? Have a conversation, sale, whatever it is. Disposition pop-up is going to appear, and these are totally customizable for you on a team level or on an agency level. You can customize these for whatever's going to work best for your business. Basically, you'll be able to disposition that call. right? If they're interested, if you set an appointment, if they're going to become an affiliate, whatever happened in that call, you can disposition that, put any notes in for insurance, you could say sold policy, right? Whatever it is, whatever happened on that call, go ahead and hit save. And what's going to happen is a couple things. That call is going to get displayed natively inside of that conversation panel. So you're going to have a total record of all those calls you're making with WAVV natively inside of there, as well as inside of the notes section.
Wow.
Yeah, that note, disposition, the duration, and then also the note you put on there is going to get saved inside of the notes section for each call as well.
Now, quick question here. So this looks beautiful. Now, if I wanted to have, let's say, interested being a disposition in my pipeline, will it automatically update the pipeline, or do I have to like do like a little bit of a webhook?
Yes, you're not going to have to do any webhooks. For like, I'm sure you obviously are familiar with workflows, automations, things like that. A lot of people are inside of Highlevel. Cool thing, using WAVV and Highlevel together is actually a really powerful tool because of the fact that with these dispositions, it's actually connected to tags. So as you can see here, right, in this note, I selected the interested disposition, and each disposition is actually mapped to a tag. So you can map that to a tag. What'll happen is when I select that, it's going to put that WAVV interested tag on that contact. And then by that tag, you can totally move it to that interested pipeline, have all of your contacts automatically move there, have better organization as you go through them.
Very, very cool. So you're talking this can be fully automated based on any of the dispositions, even as sold. So I can immediately set a contract and everything else. And if you guys look at some of the previous videos, we have those workflows inside of our channel already that like how to automate contracts, how to automate sales. So a lot of this can go in conjunction as you're building these power dialers. So this is pretty awesome. That's very, very exciting.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole idea, right? Is to just, save your time from doing a lot of the other manual work and allowing you to spend more time on the phone, have good conversations, get more sales. If you do a sold disposition, you can have it set up to send them a text, send them an email, send them a contract, and really just spend time on the phones, having good conversations, having more conversations is the main thing. So that would be that first way to go ahead and power dial. The second way is you can actually power dial straight from those pipelines as well. At the top of each opportunity stage, you're going to have this call button. This is a WAVV call button that you'll get, when you get started with WAVV. For example, here, if I have, a bunch of leads in this callback section, I can go ahead and hit this call button. It's going to do the exact same thing. It's going to load up all the leads in that stage into the power dialer. So yeah, and I'm using that multi-line dialer, so it's going to call 3 at a time. Go ahead and hit dial. It's going to power dial through those, starting just there at the top, and then whoever answers first, it's going to connect that call. You'll be able to talk to them.
That is so cool that it does this. And one quick question too, while we're going through this, right? So the second that disposition, does it go automatically to the next call?
So after that disposition, you'll hit resume, this resume button at the top. And then basically it'll do 2 different things. So for example, if only, in this example, Talia answered, when I hit resume, it's actually going to go to the next 3 contacts and it's going to power dial through those. It is calling 3 people at the same time. And so, if you're calling and Talia answers, and for example, Ophelia also answered that line, what's going to happen is we actually have you pre-record a callback message. This is optional, something you can do, but we have you pre-record a callback message, which we recommend is something like, hey, I just jumped on a phone call, give you a call right back. So they know that you're going to give them a call back. And then when you hit resume, it'll actually call Ophelia right back. So you can stay on top of those who are answering, have that conversation, and then move on to the next week.
Very, very cool. And I think one of the biggest features, right, that Spencer and I talked about is like the thing with the power dialer, right, in Highlevel, the reporting's okay. But you guys have a full entire suite on top of all this. So you can do it through opportunities. You can do it through the regular contact area. And then on top of it, you have reporting and you have a whole suite in here, right?
Yeah, we do. That's exactly right. Yeah. So inside of the WAVV Manager here on the sidebar, there's a bunch of different things here that I can show you. So we do have reporting. That's exactly right. And a couple things with reporting, we have the overview, the how many calls you're making, how many conversations you're having, how much time has been spent in the dialer, as well as how many calls in your team has been made. You can even set goals for your team. If you want, each person to do 100, 100 dials a day, 200 dials a day, you can set that goal. And then cool thing about reporting is we are constantly, improving and working on reporting. And so you'll also be able to see like your phone number health, team performance, and then disposition reports as well. So there's a lot, of different aspects of the reporting that really helps you to see and know what you're doing, how you're spending your time, and how you can make it more effective.
So do I buy a number in Highlevel and then do I buy another one in WAVV, or do I buy in WAVV and then you'd like it connects to the one in Highlevel?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So cool thing with WAVV is we actually can do both. So currently we give you 1 free WAVV number for each seat that you have. So if your team has, 2 or 3 seats, we're going to give you 3 numbers for free. If you're an individual person, we'll give you 1 for free. You can claim numbers from WAVV. It's just $1 per number per month to claim from WAVV. Or if you do have numbers that you've purchased outside of WAVV, Highlevel, Twilio, other numbers like that, you can actually add those in for free. You just basically put in the phone number, nickname it, verify it with the call or text, and you'll actually be able to add that to your phone number manager, use that in your number pool as you're calling out for local presence, things like that.
Yeah, the one thing that I saw there that was kind of, you hop by quick, but I think it's super important that a lot of people don't realize is the number health and the spam rate of the number. Because a lot of people are just like, oh, why are nobody picking up my, well, I'll give you guys a quick little story. I thought I was this big genius like a couple of years ago. And I was like, we're just going to get 1-800 numbers. We're going to call and everything else. And all of a sudden the company that we're doing it for, that it dropped significantly. And then I go to the owner. I'm like, I don't understand what happened. We went to a 1-800 number and he's like, yeah, when was the last time you picked up a 1-800 number? And I kind of looked at him. I'm like, oh, good point. And I was like, I was a little taken back by it, but it was a really big lesson. I think that happened 5 years ago. And I kind of learned that lesson. But what everybody doesn't realize is each number does have a score to it. It's a trust score. And that kind of like determines whether or not your carriers, and there's a lot of them. There's like, you got T-Mobile, you got Verizon, you got all these different carriers. Each one has a different rating. As you can see, them having this is quite a bit of advantage. Just this part alone, this might be worth the waiting call. Not that the whole entire software is massively awesome, but like you're talking about something that when we buy a number, you have no idea whether it's good or not. And there you go, at least monitoring the health. And you notice that they have the 3 carriers, AT&T, T-Mobile, and Verizon. The other thing that I didn't realize, this thing is like a credit score. It goes up and down. So there's a lot of knowledge I didn't get. So at least you'll know that the numbers you're calling from are healthy numbers that are accepted by the carriers. So that's pretty badass.
Exactly. Yeah. We have a lot of people coming over to WAVV for spam protection specifically. It's exactly what you're saying, right? They're larger teams. They want to make calls and they're just running into just, issues, problems with spam. And so having the ability to spam protect your numbers and also being able to visually see that they're healthy is huge, right? Cool thing with how we do spam protection is if a number does get marked as or flagged as spam, we actually have remediations that we can send out. And that way we can make sure that it, gets back to a healthy number. We don't want you to be making those calls and having them come up as spam. So this does a really good job to protect from that.
Very, very cool.
So yeah. And then with those numbers as well, we also do have local presence. So, for those people on your team that are calling, multiple different states, have markets in different states, any number that you have inside of WAVV, based off of those area codes, when you call out, it's actually going to match the contacts that you have, their area code based off the area code phone numbers that you have, right? So if you're calling, different states in the South, you have an area code for each state in the South. As you call out, it's going to display that local area code, helps with familiarity, pickup rates, things like that.
So I have to ask, because, a lot of our people use third-party callers from other countries. How would this do with another country, calling from another country to some of the leads?
Yeah, I mean, if they're calling from, what do you mean exactly by that? Do you mean like from numbers that are out?
Yeah, like the Philippines, like you're talking about Argentina, Colombia. Some people use call centers out in that part. At least some of the parties that I know are interested in the software. When it comes to other countries and them being able to call from their countries through the tool, what does that feel like, look like? I mean, is it hard? Is it easy?
Yeah, that's a great question. We actually have quite a few teams that their like call center or their team is based out, in like the Philippines, things like that. And so, yeah, it works seamlessly as long as they're, using United States numbers, Mexico or Canada, they're calling into United States, Mexico or Canada. They're totally able to call in any of those countries, use a CRM, use WAVV, totally fine. We have a lot of teams that do that actually.
Very, very cool.
And then we do record these calls as well. I know for like real estate and insurance, it's a pretty important to be able to have those calls recorded for like training or for legal reasons. So we do record those calls as well. You'll be able to go back, listen to those, and then you can, download your call log, things like that. As well as there's a couple other settings that we do have for just in general for different settings than for team. As far as, you can set different voicemails. We have a smart voicemail drop. So as you call out, if they go to voicemail, you can have it drop that voicemail automatically. You can pre-record that voicemail. We do have a time zone protection. So you're not going to be calling people outside of a time zone if you don't want to. You can kind of set that there. And then, like I said, we do record those calls and then you can turn on a transcription. So it'll transcribe those calls as well. Again, for, training or anything like that. Set your callback message. And then as far as like inbound, we do have like a robust inbound system where basically if, a lot of times people have questions on what happens if someone calls back, this way, right? And so kind of the answer to that is you're able to set that. So you can do a browser call pop. Basically, if, somebody calls back a number that one of the WAVV numbers you called with, it will pop in your browser. You can just answer it right there.
Oh, very cool.
Which makes it really, really easy. Or you can forward it to a personal cell, to an outside number, or you can just send it to a voicemail inbox that we have built inside of Wave as well.
Very, very cool though. That is very, very cool, especially for those offshore teams. That's fantastic.
Exactly right. Yeah, it works really well for a team, individual.
Yeah, this is definitely not your mama's power dialer. So this is definitely like a more robust. Maybe you should have that slogan, Wave, not your mama's power dialer.
Noted.
Like,
We're
that might
good
happen.
now. Hey, Caden, one other thing, go to the beta. I don't know why. This one's like always requested, and maybe one of our most loved features is the ability we have to integrate with Spotify. When you're on the phone all day, I mean, just to hear the ringing for hours is so annoying. And so we actually have this feature where you can connect to your Spotify premium account. And so it's actually going through and just playing your playlist. And as soon as someone answers, we detect that, pause your playlist, you start talking. When you're done with that, it just resumes your playlist. It seems dumb, but it is amazing.
No,
And
I mean,
so-
look, I worked in banking. I worked in banking for 14 years, and my first job was calling. And our list was like, we had to do 500 calls a day. It was monotonous and it was terrible. It was one of the worst experiences of my life. And I did it for like months straight until I got promoted. But I mean, it was like one of my first jobs in banking. It was like one of the worst jobs. And yes, it does get monotonous. And more importantly, it's like, there's no break. Man, just adding that, just thinking about this now. If I had a little bit of music, I was in a room with a phone and no windows. It was like there was like nothing else there. And there was no cell phones back then. So
yeah,
that's pretty wild. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
we love it. So
And what's a double dial? Since we happen to be here and I happen to be nosy, what is this double dial?
Yeah. So this double dial, this is something that's pretty popular in the insurance industry. A lot of insurance companies will teach to call each contact 2 times or 3 times in a row. And so we actually just went ahead and just built that and automated that inside of Wave. Basically, if you have this turned on, when you call a contact, it's actually going to, if they don't answer, or if they go to voicemail, it'll actually just redial that contact again. And then that second time, if they don't answer or if it goes to voicemail, then it will do the smart voicemail drop. That way it allows you to call the contact twice, helps with familiarity. And again, it's super popular in the insurance industry, real estate industries as well. So we decided to listen to customers, go ahead and build it. Yeah, people love that as well.
Very, very cool. So if you guys hadn't noticed right by now, again, jokingly around, I definitely said this is definitely not your mama's power dialer, but we were talking about a lot of things here. And I just want to recap a little bit. And while we're recapping, there is a link up there if you guys want to check it out. There's also a demo link that we're going to provide on the description that allows you guys to kind of check out the demo for yourself, so you can see it, but you're seeing it here live. This is exactly what it is. But just to recap, we got a dialer that automatically goes inside your opportunities area and inside of your high level, where again, you're hitting a button and it just goes through. It's dialing 3 people at a time, which I think is pretty nifty and pretty cool. That on top of it, it has the ability of, again, you heard it, it's recording the call. You can disposition afterwards and can connect to your absolute automations and workflows. And more importantly, it's got all these other features when it comes to robust reporting. You saw it here live. And on top of it, the one feature that we wish we had is knowing the healthiness of our number and whether or not the number is even a viable number to be calling out of. So we're talking about a pretty massive overhaul to just a normal dialer. So anybody in the real estate business, the mortgage business, insurances, all this other stuff you're hearing, you hear it live. This is one of the hottest downloaded apps right now inside the marketplace, and it's for a good reason. And you guys saw it kind of live today and how it works. So if anybody's running call centers, you're trying to do any of this, click a link. Again, this is by far one of the coolest dialers I've seen. I brought the whole entire team on. If you guys want affiliates, Cindy's your person right here. Again, this is something that is on the rise. It's pretty hot. A lot of customers are looking for this. I know a lot of people that we service and that we help out on viewing this channel have agencies, talk to real estate, talk to mortgages, talk to insurance agents. And again, you don't have to have a high level account in order to do it. And we're always trying to teach people how to make money. No better way to make money than affiliating for somebody, especially somebody that you can trust, has good name, reputation on here. It's been around for 7 years, blowing up in the last 2 thanks to Highlevel, and we want to help in that growth. So again, we're going to post that link. We also have a link here at the bottom here, if I can actually get my captions to work right. But between this and the barcode, again, go out there and make sure you guys get it. But with that being said, anything else that you guys are thinking about, or what's coming on the horizon? Anything that anybody that's interested in Wave or in power dials in general, like what's the big thing that's happening in that space?
Man, there's so much we could say. So phone number health is for sure a big one. We are working on some special stuff there of really managing those numbers and making sure that's even more performant. That's coming out really soon. The way that you're calling from opportunities that Caden showed, we have some special unique things going on there. That's going to be out like within the month of June. soon. We're actually going live on our internal team on some of that, but it allows you to more easily set up some of those automations, and you don't have to be a master at high level to create those automations. You can do it straight from Wave, just clicking, and it's like really, really simple. So those are the big things. I mean, there's always stuff we're working on. AI is probably the biggest topic everyone's talking about.
Absolutely. Every hour of the day.
Yeah. So we've intentionally kind of held off and sat and watched and done massive amounts of research and want to see what everyone's trying to do. So we have stuff coming there. We've intentionally just been slow, right? And seeing what's winning, what's not working, and where do we really want to play. And so you'll see some of that soon as well.
Pretty exciting too. And just again, everybody just go ahead and check it out. More importantly, like I said, we'll have a demo in the description of the field along with all these links here. But something else that comes to mind when you were talking about that, the growth of like call centers and all that is not declining. It's not going away, because as much as AI is still kind of like, everybody's doing it and they're talking about it, believe it or not, one, outbound robocalls are still pretty illegal in the States. Just can't do it. So a lot of people are trying to play around with it. They're getting slapped pretty hard because you get fined per carrier. So outbound calling still exists for a lot of the larger companies that don't want to risk getting shut down, and more importantly, massive fines per carrier, per call. It's a lot of crazy rules. And I did see, and I didn't fall asleep on that, but he did show where it had a protection where you call from 9 to 5. Believe it or not, we actually know 2 clients of ours that are now currently getting sued because they called out of hours. And wasn't even hours. Believe it or not, they sent a text message off hours. They sent it at like 8 o'clock in the morning, and it was supposed to be at 9, and they got them. So just be very, very aware that that is a pretty serious thing. But with that being said, again, advances in AI, absolutely. The fact that you're so embedded now and the trajectory that Highlevel is going. And again, I think we're at 100,000, I think, agency owners, and I think we're past 1 million of users at this point. So you're definitely in the right place where you got to be in there. This is why I'm a big fan of the tool. Obviously, from these guys also, they're the same. But again, check it out. And any last comments, Spencer, team, anything else that you want people to know about?
Yeah, I'd say the biggest thing is free trial, right? Like, we offer a free trial, and it's not for everyone. We get that, and we totally understand. I think it's more important, though, to try it, right? You don't know what you don't know. As you start playing with it, believe me, you'll get some ideas, and it's like, oh man, I can automate all of this. Like, if I just made these calls and closed all this, again, persuasion matters so much. And so for you to do what you can do best is actually sell, and the automation takes care of itself. Wave is a good fit. Try it out.
Awesome. Well, everybody, thank you again for joining on, and we will see everybody in the next one. So thank you, and see you in the next one.